It's 11 o'clock. I'm just trying to get my stand to stand. 11 o'clock Eastern time on Thursday, November 14th. Not even 2 weeks into the trauma. I'm here in my car, obviously, and checking in. I did write another Substack this morning, bright and early. It's up there on my Substack page. And for some reason, I'm obsessed with Joan of Arc. I took these photos on Veterans Day of Joan of Arc. The statue I've looked at my entire life growing up here. It's right in front of the American Legion Hall, which they just finally repainted, and it's beautiful. I'm thinking about the people throughout history that knew to do the right thing, despite all odds and even risk to their own lives, that did the thing that needed to be done. And Joan of Arc falls into that category, even though that was France. But we're all fighting for our freedom. We're all fighting for life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness that's everybody's birthright. And this nation has succeeded, for the most part, in achieving that for its people. And we've never been, in our lifetimes, this challenged. And so my Substack today had to do with that. So my Substack today had to do with, it's entitled, "The Inmates Are Running the Asylum. Are we really not going to call the prison guards?" So check that out, and please subscribe to my Substack under my name. This nation was built on steely courage and steely strength and just unbelievable courage, unbelievable bravery. World War II was fought with that same spirit, and it was fought because we as a world people at that time were not going to tolerate fascism. And that's our identity. Our American identity is we're not going to tolerate fascism. We're not going to tolerate, it's our creed, it's our constitution. We're not going to tolerate tyranny. That's not who we are. So it's really, looking within time. Like in my Substack, I said this, and you'll read it. Put your hand on your heart and ask yourself this: am I a warrior, or am I a wimp? And we have to do that collectively, I feel. And I wrote too about how I've been caught off guard and by surprise at the lack of evidence out there that we are fighters. What did Kamala say? When we fight, we win. Well, maybe that whole campaign saying had more to it than what we thought. Maybe it meant something else. Maybe it meant we were going to be in a giant fight for our freedom from the cruelty and the crimes against humanity that these monsters of human beings, just abject criminals and cruel human beings, what they have in store for us, what they have planned. Are we warriors? WARRIORS. Are we warriors? Are we workers of the light? Or when it all comes down to it and the rubber hits the road and we have our feet to the fire, do we cave? This is a really big, monumental turning point. This is huge. I can't even begin to tell you how huge this is. It is huge. And I actually feel honored and grateful to be a part of it. And I felt divinely guided on Veterans Day to take those shots of Joan of Arc with her sword drawn and her eyes to the sky, and she happens to be looking. I mean, I'm sure you've seen the picture. If you haven't, I'll send it to you. I think I promised it to a couple people. I'm a little delayed on what I said I was going to do. But she's got her sword pointed up and her horse is, up on its hind legs, and she's looking up. And she happens to be looking at in the photograph at because it's the American Legion building, at the American flag and the POW flag. We really need some inspiring leaders right now. We need people that are willing to put away any idea that anything remotely connected or resembling fascism is unacceptable. I heard that CNN is losing staff, is having to lay people off. I heard the same for MSNBC. I do get Midas Touch's newsletters and information. I haven't been watching very many Midas Touch videos because anything that that speaks about a fascist administration coming in, I choose not to engage my thoughts in that kind of imagining. Yeah, and CNN and MSNBC deserve it. They are complicit, and I wrote an entire Substack about that too. I'm struck myself by how prolific I've been. I don't know what's coming through me, but how much I just need to write, which is why I keep telling you to go to my Substack, and it's kind of turning into a daily thing. So the mainstream media networks are falling fast. They are suffering. It brings to mind that there was a while ago that on PNN I was doing a reading. Gee, if CNN goes, then I'll be taking their place. How I'd read on what was going to happen to mainstream media, eventually, and I really got that the YouTube videos of pro-democracy channels were going to far supersede them, and that there would be a little bit of a scuffle, just through the media about it, and then eventually mainstream media would just have to relinquish control of the airwaves to the pro-democracy channels like Midas Touch. Maybe this channel eventually, right? I need your help with that. I need you all to share my videos. I've been shadow blocked by YouTube. There's no real conceivable reason that's logically explainable as to why my channel doesn't grow. I need your help. Maybe I'm being protected. So Joan of Arc, she heard voices, and she went in and she led the troops to victory. And then later the misogyny kicked in and they burned her. Alexei Navalny, later in history, there's not a day that goes by that I don't think of Navalny, and that's God's honest truth. There's not a day that goes by that he doesn't pop into my head, because I think Alexei Navalny was a saint. I think he died a saint. Zelensky I think about a lot, even though he's here on the earthly plane. Fortunately, he's still here, and I think he'll be here for a long time. Zelensky never quit, and he's not going to quit. We will put an end to fascism. We will put an end to Vladimir Putin. We'll stop him. We will stop him. Who knows? He could go the way of Hitler. So when I see mainstream media and just people in general just caving, I mean, I can't. That is not in my personal constitution. I cannot accept that. Can I get a witness? Can I hear from you guys that you don't accept it either? I'm a little afraid to touch the settings on my chat, but let me see. Okay, hang on. Um, it was kind of restricting a lot of people from saying anything. There's a risk of trolls. Yes. Yeah, Amanda, can't accept it. Okay. Fighting till the end. And I, having been in this work for over 30 years, I know for sure that we can call upon spirits that have crossed over, souls who have crossed over, and ask for their help. Amen. I like it. We can ask the spirit of Joan of Arc to be with us. I mean, clearly she's with me. I can feel it. And I haven't really watched the other psychics. We definitely do need a leader. We need a lot of leaders. So step up if you're a leader. I've taken that role, but it wasn't like a conscious choice, which is kind of how it always works. Electrostorm, that's not the only positive. I would change that. That's not the only positive. It was just 11:11 just a second ago. So I want to know how you're feeling, because this is a check-in for about 20 minutes or so. I want you all to promise me that you'll share these videos that, you know, have strong messages in them. You see Kamala taking the oath of office. Tomorrow we're having a full moon. I'm not sure exactly what time it hits, but it's a full moon in the sign of Taurus. It's where my moon is. Lots of Uranus activity going on. And just as far as the astrology goes, oh, and then Pluto goes into Aquarius on the 19th, next Tuesday. So while I'm on the topic of astrology, right around this afternoon, I'm not going to tell you exactly what time, we're doing a pop-up with Kathy Beale to go over the political astrology. Failure to defeat fascism before it enters the White House. Failure is not an option. And it's absolutely, it's necessary for our physical survival that we all hold in our consciousness. Fascism entering the United States of America, into our White House, into our Capitol. Fascism is not an option. Invasion by the enemy is not an option. And the enemy has gotten into our government. That Putin is so clever. He's so clever. This has been going on since, oh, I have Bruce Springsteen in the background. I hope they don't give me a copyright claim. Putin has been at this for a very long time. He's a very patient terrorist, Putin. And the way that he knew he could get in, because he's KGB and he's a master at psychological warfare, was how clever would it be, this is Putin's thinking, if I manipulated the brains of the American people so it would be like a silent psychological warfare that he attacked this country with. And it went on for years. He found a foolish man. I think he had Trump on his mind the whole time. And I know that he's spoken to Trump on a regular basis. It's been going on since he became a Russian dictator, which was, what, was it 20 years ago? Think of all the Russians who protested when Putin invaded Ukraine. Talk about courage. And I feel pretty humiliated and embarrassed for America that the Russian people could do that. I mean, it was, and to attend Alexei Navalny's funeral. They were told they'd be thrown in prison, and they went anyway. They went anyway. Alexei Navalny went back into Russia when he knew he'd be met by the guards and the soldiers, the Russian guards and soldiers, that he knew he was going to prison. and he laughed in Putin's face. And we as American citizens can't just take one little smidgen of that. Actually, we can. Just a little smidgen of that courage, because it's exponentially less required of us. So really, let's think about not giving any of our conjecture, not giving any of our imaginings to these monstrous human beings that are criminals being in charge of all of our lives. Why would we think about something so intently and in such great detail, projecting into the future, that's an absolute, unimaginable, really, horror story, right? 24 years of this. Putin came in 2000. Evil has no bounds. Evil will get in and taint everything, toxify everything. And the display of toxicity threatening to get into our government and run our country is so nauseating, so sickening, so gross, such an assault to my Constitution that I cannot even. I mean, I got wind yesterday of Matt Gaetz, Trump wants Matt Gaetz to be Attorney General. That was enough for me. I turned it right off. And I want to just speak a little bit about our emotional energy and how it affects the collective. It's this doubling down of, we are not going to let this happen. That energy has a ripple effect. What also conversely has a ripple effect is when we get into a place where we start talking about when Trump gets into office. Don't let those words leave your lips. Don't let that thought enter into your brain. All thought is creative. I am well versed in this, and perhaps you are too. I hope that you are. All thought is creative. All the thoughts that we think move the potential energy towards that thing happening. Why on God's earth, if you don't want a fascistic takeover of this country, would you or I be thinking about it? The only thing for us to be thinking about is stopping him. I remember when, oh my gosh, we were hoping and praying he was going to leave that White House when Joe Biden got elected. Hoping and praying and almost thinking it's too good to be true. But I just remember pleading with the universe, dear God, make him leave. I guess I probably had a sense that January 6th was coming. Just get him out of there. He was like super glued in. Just get him out, because once we get him out, there's a chance that we'll be okay. And then we did get him out miraculously, kind of, not totally, that's for sure. And Joe Biden stepped in to the role of President of the United States. You just had a mental image of Joe Biden building a wall around the White House. Because I'm unable to look at things that I don't want to imagine being so, because they're so like a Stephen King worst horror story ever. I didn't see anything about Trump going to the White House and sitting with Biden, but reportedly what I heard was that Biden was sitting there looking very kingly. And I read past lives, and I feel like Joe Biden was King of Ireland at some point in our world history. And I heard from you guys, especially in the chat, I heard that Trump was looking very nervous. I want to remind you all of what, because I know we forget, what we saw on display a few days before Election Day. And one other thing that just totally boggles my brain, and I just really haven't been able to sort it out yet, is how on earth the American people are thinking, are really believing, are really like pouring over, like, what did Kamala do wrong? What did not this, which is to me is glaringly obvious. Not this, not like, I wonder what happened. That seems kind of fishy that they called the election a few hours after everyone had voted. It's like, instead they're all going, oh, Kamala, she did something wrong. We saw it with our eyes. We felt it in our souls and our guts. Kamala Harris won the damn election. I don't care what anybody says. Do not fight me on that. I know what I know, and I'm not the only one who knows this. I did know that we were up against some very nefarious, evil technological schemes. I did know that. I was aware of that. And in fact, in retrospect, when I think back to what I was hearing bits and pieces of that Elon Musk was up to behind the scenes, colluding with Putin, it was just, and Trump was talking to Putin. We heard he talked to him 7 times. It was way more than 7 times after Trump left office that he was talking to Putin. It was continuous. And I also have always felt that Putin planned January 6th. How people are talking about, that Monday morning quarterbacking. Oh, well, and to the audacity of anybody to say anything about, I mean, first of all, it validates it's honestly, oh, maybe the left is too woke. First of all, the MAGAs don't even know what that word means, nor do many people. But according to the common usage now, woke means educated, by choice, kind, in support of democracy, and in support of us caring about one another, in support of the arts, and everything that's cool. That's woke. And anyone who's saying anything about Nancy Pelosi, I want you all to know that Nancy Pelosi is traumatized. So I give her a pass. I give her Nancy Pelosi gets a total pass from me. And Nancy Pelosi gets nothing but praise and respect from me. So I don't want to see anybody, this is my personal preference, I don't want to see anybody say anything negative about Nancy Pelosi. Because if we're doing that, then we've drunk the Kool-Aid. Because prior to Trump being on the scene, in the political scene, these people that we've actually started to look at with suspicion, I'm sorry, I hope you're not doing that. Thank you, I did state it well in my song. I always had the utmost respect for Nancy Pelosi. She was doing her job, and she did a damn good job. She's a very talented Speaker of the House, especially. Adam Schiff, all the different Democrats that have served, that Trump and his minions have done nothing but attack and say they deserve to die. We're actual leaders and public servants devoted fully to public service and doing the right thing for all of us and for democracy and for future generations. We should be lifting them up and praising them. And for that matter, we should all, and I'm going to say we should all be lifting up Kamala Harris and Tim Walz in our consciousnesses and how we regard them. And also, Electra Storm, I'm talking about people who have served this country and kept it running smoothly. And I will fight against anybody who will not stand up for at least the portion of that they did good for this country. And what you said just now, Electrostorm, was divisive. I'm just pointing it out. And I just want to use the disclaimer here that we are in extremely volatile and dangerous times. Okay. And you know that we love you. But I reserve the right to say how I feel if somebody puts something that's negative in the chat. From now until we get through this tough time, especially. Because I'm coming on at 11 a.m. Eastern Time every day, and Sundays I do it later because it's Church of Spirituality, to generate an energy of only high vibration, support, and positivity. And I know you're capable of that. I know we're all capable of that. We're just going to stretch a little further with it. We're going to do overkill on the kindness. This is volunteer for me. So we had this Trump dude come into our politics, and he started attacking, because this is what Putin loves. He started attacking anybody for being for democracy. Make no mistake. And then the Russian psychological warfare, Putin's psychological warfare, got in and manipulated people's minds. For the first time in world history, we have this issue that hasn't been dealt with, and it's the technology of social media. And it just keeps, with AI and everything, it just keeps getting ahead of us. We need to reel it in. We got to figure out a way. Our survival depends on it. The Trumpsters have no idea what they've done. And I really do believe that they'll find out before January what they have done. On the way over here to this little park, which is just not far from where I live, I saw a Trump Vance bumper sticker. And it got me thinking about voter fraud. And interference, election interference. It got me thinking when I saw that Trump Vance bumper sticker on somebody's car today. It got me thinking about election interference. And I don't think that it's something that is a crime that could put people away. And at this point, we think that crimes don't put people away anymore. But isn't it election interference for the media to pummel disinformation at a populace in a constant 24/7, never-ending stream? Is that not election interference? Because if that isn't, I don't know what is. It's highly dangerous, and it needs to be stopped. We stand with Harris. She won. I do want to apologize to anybody whose feelings that I hurt, because I lash out when somebody says something defeatist and negative and seemingly slanderous. But you know what? In a family, you love each other and you fight sometimes, right? So I'm sending you hugs. Before I sign off this morning, just a couple of things. Make sure you hit the notification bell so you can catch our show this afternoon with me and Kathy Beale. We've been talking a lot more than usual. This crisis that we're in has really pulled us together, and we're talking more to our friends and so on. So that's happening. And tonight at 7, even though it's not a PNN night, what I'm going to do is I'm going to come on live at 7 Eastern Time. I always speak in Eastern Time. Warren, hit your notification bell, please. I'm sorry, I just don't have a lot of patience for people asking me to do extra work right now. That's all. Honestly. I said, hit your notification bell so you know when we come on. That's for a reason. I love you all so much. You have no idea. And you know that I do. You know this isn't said with hatred at all. So tonight I'm going to come on at 7 my time. I like to always say I always speak in Eastern time because it keeps things less confusing. We can't keep switching time zones. And that's specifically to talk about what we want to do as I'm kind of reviving grassroots of democracy. Okay? You can't believe the number of people who are arguing. Well, you know, we can be a force for peace. We can. We can figure it out. I mean, I have to. I just yelled at a couple people in the chat, and it's like, all right, we're still friends. Yeah. Before we close, when the onion wins in court, that's a sign. That's funny. Before I close, I want you to be aware that as the Trumpsters are waking up from their cult fog, when they we have to be patient these next few days and a week or so. We have to be a little bit patient because it's going to take them time to wake up and revolt. But pay attention to any stories, any news flashes, anything that you read that says that the MAGAs aren't liking what they're seeing that Trump lied about, because they will join the revolution. I don't mean a bloody revolution. I mean, they will join. I mean, I've been calling it the resistance. I heard Simon Rosenberg today. I heard him say he thinks we should call it the something else, the opposition. I think they're one and the same. I don't really see that there's a big difference in those two words. So we can vote on that tonight. Are we the resistance or are we the opposition? What a freaking joke, right? What Trump is appointing. And also I'll end also with and I've mentioned this is before and after the meeting at the White House yesterday with Biden and Trump. Don't think for 1 second that Biden is in the know about what's going to happen to Trump. All right. Thank you for showing up. Thank you for being patient with me and my attitude. My love is unconditional. So we'll see you sometime this afternoon. Once again, hit your notification bell so you know when Kathy and I come on. I'm actually trying to get people to hit their notification bells because of the problems I'm having with YouTube. Please subscribe. Please book a reading, psychic.AnnetteDion.com. Please go to my Substack and read that and subscribe. That is free. It's free to subscribe to this channel. Hit the thumbs up on the way out. And hopefully we'll see you tonight at 7. We're going to have a live stream. We're going to talk about our plans for grassroots of democracy starting, today. All right. Call your representatives. Send those emails. Tell them you don't accept this. I reject fascism. All right. Namaste. Love you all. Keep it positive. Bye.